Welcome to Tracy Aaron Talks, where functional medicine meets personal development. You want to be living your best life, but the overwhelming amount of health information out there is confusing, and the way you think about yourself is keeping you stuck. You know you are meant for more. As a women's health specialist, my aim is to simplify and equip you with the tools you need to be beautifully balanced from the inside out. Welcome back to Tracy Aaron Talks, where today I want to talk to you about how to get great sleep. Everyone sleeps, or everyone should be sleeping, but not everybody is sleeping great. Not everybody is having the quality or the quantity that they desire. So today I'm going to share with you my 7 best tips for getting a great night's sleep. And the best news of all is each one of them is completely free. So let's jump in. Have you ever heard it said that a great sleep starts the second you wake up? That's when your bedtime routine starts. Actually, it's not when the sun goes down and it's not right before bed. It's the second you wake up. Every single thing you do during the day either sets you up to have a great night's sleep or it prevents a great night's sleep. So, number one, I want you to get your awareness around your daily activities, the things you think about, the things you do, the things you eat, etc. All of those contribute to how well you're sleeping at night. So if you find yourself struggling, don't just look to those hours where your head is on the pillow. Look to all day long where you can tidy things up so that you can get a better night's rest. Let's go ahead and jump in. Here's your good night sleep routine. Number 1, completely free. Sun gaze at the sunrise for 10 to 15 minutes. If you can't watch the actual sun rise over the horizon because of your geographic location, you might be in the city, you might be in a little bit of a valley, you might have a lot of homes around you. If something is preventing you from watching the sun over the horizon, that's okay, but be outside as it's rising and gaze your eyes towards the brightest part of the sky. You'll get bonus points too if you have your bare feet on the ground at both sunrise and sunset. If you can be in contact with the earth with bare feet, you have a synergistic effect from the grounding, getting the electrons from the earth combined with the energy you're getting from the sun, and it really sets your hormonal cascade up for optimal success. Really and truly one of the best things that you can do. Be awake at sunrise. Get your eyes gazing at that sun over horizon. Now, when it's higher than maybe 15 degrees, you don't want to stare into the sun. And if it ever becomes uncomfortable for your vision, don't look in the direction. Look in the direction of the sun, not directly at it. But you can look at the sun as it's rising directly over the horizon until it's about 15 degrees without any ill effect. So I want you to be thinking about sun gazing for a total of 10 to 15 minutes. Again, if you can't look directly at it, be outside as that sun is rising over the horizon. Number 2, stop all caffeine after 2 p.m. This seems like a no-brainer, but sometimes it's hard for people to do because they have that addiction to coffee to get them through the afternoon. So one of the best sleep hacks is to just quit the coffee after lunch. Whatever your cutoff time is, for me personally, it's 2 p.m. Some people, it needs to be noon. And some people, their cortisol curve is so out of whack that they need it to be 10 a.m. I'm not sure exactly what your threshold is, but a general rule of thumb is to stop all caffeine after 2 p.m. That will give you plenty of hours of metabolism. If you add dinner in there, the caffeine should no longer be affecting you as you're hitting your head to the pillow and trying to get a good night's sleep. Now, at some point, I want to talk to you about some caffeine alternatives because there's quite a bit you can do that will help get you through the afternoon if you're one of these who need a little extra support. Then there are caffeine-free alternatives that have similar tastes and feels to coffee without that hit and without the jitters, without that cortisol. jolt. So let's talk about that at some time. Number 3 is to be outside as the sun is setting. This is important even if you can't see the actual sunset on the horizon. Same thing as the sunrise. Oh, sorry. Actually, if the actual sunset on the horizon. So both sunrise and sunset are very foundational to your hormonal balance. If you can be outside when both of these things are occurring during the day, you really give yourself a head start for setting your diurnal rhythms up in pattern with nature. So if you can't see the actual sunset, that's okay. But be outside for those 10 minutes as it's dipping below the horizon. This is the proper signal for your body to stop producing cortisol and to start producing melatonin. And the next one goes along with that. Number 4 is to immediately put on blue light blocker glasses right after sunset. So, why is this important? Because any form of artificial light from the natural light of the sun setting, any point forward, signals to your body that it's still daytime and that cortisol should still continue to be ramped up in our bodies. That is difficult if you're trying to produce more melatonin so you can get a good night's sleep. Cortisol and melatonin work in opposite relation of one another. So if cortisol is high, melatonin is low. Subsequently, if melatonin is high, then cortisol is low. And as you're creeping towards the night and off into bedtime, you want your melatonin to have as high of a level as possible. And if we have high cortisol, we can't be producing high amounts of melatonin at the same time. So blue light blocker glasses block that reality from your body that it's still daytime. And they help you drift off into the hormonal balance of melatonin being the main driver so that you can sleep well at night. I want you to think about artificial light as a endocrine disruptor. Artificial light is something that truly impacts our hormones and the way that we feel. So if we can block it after sunset, then we can sort of trick our body and stay on the hormonal rhythm that is in sync with nature. Number 5 is similar. Stop eating at sunset and stop eating until breakfast the following day after sunrise, and limit alcohol use at night. If you have a longer time from dinner to bedtime, you reduce or you give yourself a better shot at a proper night's sleep because you're no longer spending your body's energy on digesting your food. You can just then get right into sleep and begin to focus on that reparation and rejuvenation that needs to happen as we sleep overnight. Oftentimes, people who don't sleep well realize that they're eating too close to bedtime. And sometimes a simple hack is just as easy as moving dinner up before sunset. In order to be in a natural rhythm with nature anyway, we only want to eat when the sun is up. So after sunrise and before sunset, everything else would be considered our fasting window. Number 6 is to have a power down routine each night at a set time. A power down routine looks something like this. It's where you put your phone and your electronic devices aside. It's where you turn off notifications or you put them into airplane mode and you commit not to picking them up until the following day. It's literally pushing the power down, power off button of your electronic life and saying, I'm done with this until tomorrow. If you can do this 2 hours prior to bedtime, you set yourself for even more success in having a great night's sleep. We want more time in between electronics and bed, more time in between digesting dinner and bed. And number 7, the last one, is to create a bedtime routine, but to create it with relaxing activities in mind. Things like reading, meditating, prayer. perhaps a warm bath with some relaxing essential oils, or connecting with your spouse and children, reading a book aloud, writing in a gratitude journal. I particularly love listening to binaural beats before bed. Anything that gets you into a parasympathetic state before bed. What we typically do is turn on Netflix or TV shows that are action packed and have a lot going on in them, which raises our cortisol, raises our heart rate, puts us in a sympathetic nervous system stance. And that is not great for rest and digest of the parasympathetic system. So we want to relax before bedtime. Some other helpful tips that are outside of the 7 freebies I just shared with you is you can try magnesium, somewhere around 200 to 400 milligrams right at bedtime. I love magnesium glycinate. I think it's a really great sort of all-purpose magnesium. It's very soothing to our muscles, our mind, and our bodies, and I love that before bedtime. And you can take 200 to 400 milligrams without any effect on the bowels. Another tip would be to use a battery operated clock near your bed. 1, instead of a phone, and 2, instead of an alarm clock, which plugs in and gives you artificial light through your closed eyelids all night long. How about a battery operated clock where when you needed to see what time it is, you could tap it and the light could turn on only when you're touching it, but not even remain on for 10 seconds after you let go of the button. You really want your room to be as dark as possible. So black light curtains would be beneficial too. You want to eliminate as many plugged in electronics in your bedroom as possible. So like I said, those alarm clocks, even nightstand lights, anything that's plugged in next to your bed will affect the electromagnetic frequencies that are passing through your body at night. So it's not just Wi-Fi that you want to be concerned with. It's also what they call dirty electricity that is in the walls of your home. This is the type of electricity that is just buzzing through wires, because in the background, power is always available and needs to be at the ready for any of these devices. So if we can remove power cords, anything that needs to be plugged in, all of that kind of stuff around our bed, we give ourselves a better chance at a real restful, deep sleep. Also, another tip would be to keep your bedroom temperature lower. We're really around 66, max 70 degrees is what's ideal. 68 right in the middle is what I love, and I sleep best if I'm under a warm blanket. I particularly love a down comforter. But if you keep your room around 68 degrees, that is a nice, cool temperature so that your body's not working overtime trying to cool itself off so that you can get a good night rest. Also, the last thing is go to sleep at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning. These are just a couple tips that maybe you've put a couple of them into practice. Maybe you have tried all the things. Of course, there's always supplemental protocols that you could add into your life with some herbal or nutritional remedies that will help speed this process up. But in terms of like everyday average habits that just anybody could be doing for optimal health and for optimal sleep, these are your free 7 ideas for me with a couple extra tips. So I just want you to keep in mind that great sleep starts the minute you wake up. Okay, I want you to reframe your thinking around that so that you're not just trying to fix the things that happen at night, but you're thinking about all day long habits and activities. All right, I think we'll finish there, and I'd love to see you on the next Tracy Aaron Talks. Until then, stay beautifully balanced, my friends. Thank you for joining me today on Tracy Aaron Talks. I hope you found today's episode enriching to your life. If you enjoyed today's content, would you consider subscribing to the podcast and leaving a review? That simple act helps this podcast get into the hands and ears of many more women just like you. Remember, Anything you want and do not yet have will require a new set of beliefs, thoughts, actions, and a new you. I am honored to be on this journey with you as we wholeheartedly pursue true health and wellness in mind, body, and soul.